213 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
Yes, the Wolves 77 Club everywhere. Thanks for the people who rated us 5 stars on Spotify, up to 97 now. So nearly at that magic 100. So thanks for that, and please do that if you haven't already.
Jack Williams is here.
Hi, everybody.
And Bayliss is genuinely skiing. Right, let's start, Harry, with what I think we all said last week was probably going to be a little bit of a free hit. It was a free hit for Erling Haaland to score his 25th goal of the season. An incredible return for him. He could have probably had more if it wasn't for Collins, I would say, but there was the one standing behind Collins that I think helped him out a bit.
Jose Sarr, yeah, we'll get onto him. But like you mentioned, mate, last week's podcast when we did our predictions, I think I said 3, Jack said 3 as well. Bailey said 7, didn't he? But I think the place to start with is the starting lineup. We did all say we'd like to see Adama Traore start the game. He did. Didn't like the fact Raul started with him, I'll be honest. And I think it was quite refreshing that Lopetegui admitted he'd made a mistake with the front three. And when Podence, Cunha and Sarabia, the new lad, come on, we actually started to do something second half. So very, very poor first half. Like you mentioned, if it weren't for Collins and his heroics, we'd have been 2-3 down at half time. And there's a lot of dubious refereeing decisions as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But disappointing afternoon all round for Wolves.
Jack, I think you made the point saying that I don't think Wolves got into City's half in the first half. It did feel that way.
The first point I was going to make was who could possibly see a front three of Hwang, Jimenez and Traore not being the right call. I don't know who saw that one coming. Who saw that being a shit show? And also, the next question I had was, how many goals have we scored this season in the Premier League?
Is it 12?
Not many.
It's definitely not 25, either, is it? That's 25 league goals.
Oh, no.
It's 30 in Europe, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, look what Shiv's put in the comments.
He said Haaland's left foot has got more goals than we have as a team, for Christ's sake.
Exactly. It's ridiculous, isn't it, really? But yeah, so what was the question, Sam? Sorry. Those are the two questions.
We couldn't get into their half. Not surprisingly.
No, I think it's a shame to obviously letting a goal when we scored, really, about 40 minutes, wasn't it? See it through to half time, I think was probably the aim at that point, but it was one of those where it was eventually gonna come, and it did, because up he leapt like a salmon. Haaland, it's a bit of a soft goal to concede, really. I can see why we're probably a bit annoyed with it, but completely outjumped Collins, who, arguably Collins was did his bits on the day. Is probably one of our better players, really, defensively, and he's been really good lately, but still completely outjumped for that. But it was a soft goal to concede, and from that point, just before half time, letting the goal, uphill battle. What do you think of the penalty shout? Really, would be my thing. The one on Grealish, because I haven't not the Grealish one. I think the Grealish one was a penalty that we didn't get, but I haven't seen a good angle really of the Neves one yet to see exactly whether there was enough contact in there, because it looks like he's just run across the man and gone down. Which who initiated the contact there? Really, it's one of those where I need to see a proper replay, and I didn't see one on the stuff when I watched back at all.
Neves didn't argue much though, did he? So the angle we got was very quick, and it was a bit like you don't even see the contact, do you? But I'm assuming he did trip him. So Neves was just like, yeah, fair enough. When he usually goes mad at things like that, doesn't he? So that would suggest to me that he probably thought it was a penalty as well. But the Grealish one, I remember when we was watching at the time, Bayliss was going mental saying Grealish is a dive-in, so-and-so. But I think if that would have been a Wolves player, and I think what didn't help it was literally Traore did get fouled in the phase before. It should have been given. I think the referee, who had an awful afternoon, realised he made a mistake. Maybe VAR probably thought that and thought, Jesus Christ. I think it was a penalty. It had been a bit soft because the way Grealish went down like he'd been shot. Don't know why Collins is diving in like that. But yeah, so for me, that wasn't. But the referee all afternoon, for Man City and for us, I thought was absolutely awful. You mentioned Hwang. He would have been through one-on-one first half, gets dragged to the floor, give a foul to Man City, then books Lamina and Lopetegui for protesting. He had an awful afternoon. He was just horrendous, the ref.
The reason I want to see that Neves one back in clear, because like you said, the camera angles they seem to have of it, they just were too quick for the human eye to actually see where the contact was. But would we have gotten that the other way? Would be my initial first question.
And here we are
based
again.
On the rest of the game, the answer is probably not really, because he blew straight away, didn't he, the ref? And he obviously probably had a better view than us and the camera did. But I'm just not convinced at the moment. And that's the first question I have to ask myself every time is, would we have got that the other way? Would he have blown straight away? And I think the answer is no.
Harry, first start for Mario Lemina. You mentioned him just there. What are your thoughts? We thought he looked decent when when he came on in the win against West Ham. Obviously, he was cup tied against Liverpool. Is there a player in there?
Yeah, I think he's good, but we're just against Man City. We was defending for the majority of the game. When we broke, he didn't really have too many chances, did he, to do much because we were just trying to whack it up there and nothing was sticking. So can't really judge him too much. He tried to put his foot in, make some challenges. Obviously got booked for protesting, like I just mentioned. But on the day, it weren't a good performance, was it? I mean, the team that was picked, I would have picked everyone apart from the front three. I'd have gone completely different. So, yeah, Lemina, I think he's going to be very good, and I think that's our best midfield. That starting midfield three.
It is poor, isn't it, when we're this far into whatever project is happening at the moment, and two of those front three have been here for about 4 years, possibly into their 5th year, and you just think...
And we've got Cunha sat on the bench, which we spent God knows how much money on. Like, you start Cunha, don't you? Really,
maybe he doesn't want to throw him in just yet right into the deep end with all the new faces coming in.
He pretty much admitted it was a tactical decision, but it was just completely wrong, wasn't it? Because Raul can't trap a bag of cement these days. Traore just wasn't up for it. Hwang runs about, tries hard, but he's very ineffective too. Like I say, he was unlucky on that one where he got dragged down, but it was completely wrong. It should have been Cunha, Podence, and probably Sarabia, the new lad. So
created chances when he came on, didn't he? And Podence had a chance, went for a nice little chip, but didn't quite get enough on it to go over Edison. But you've got to be in the box to get these chances. And like I say, that first half, it just wasn't happening at all.
Yeah, I think start that with that front three would have won 4-0. Would have been easy.
But... Yeah, it would have been 2-0. Is the bench looking better, Harry? Obviously, we're seeing the changes again that we're not really used to seeing changes, especially 3 more at half time again, which is just incredible considering what the last couple of years has been like. Do you think it's looking like a stronger bench to pick from?
Oh, completely. I mean, we just mentioned the players that come on. The bench now, we're almost getting to the point where we've got too many players. Well, it's better than having none, isn't it? It's better than looking at the bench and having like Chem Campbell and all that there all the time. So I'm happy with the squad depth now, and there's still more to come in. Like Bentley's obviously coming, another goalkeeper. Dawson's coming at the back, and just on the defenders, Kilman. That set the tone, didn't it? His tackle on Grealish, which I thought was a brilliant tackle, and then he gets booked, which was just ridiculous. And Collins, like we mentioned, he probably got out jumped for the first goal with Haaland, but he was our best player in defence, I thought, on the day. Some heroic defending. It'd be interesting to see who Dawson actually comes in for out of those two if we play a 4. But if we play a 5, obviously it'd be Dawson, Kilman and Collins. But yeah, like we say, I think the defenders tried their best. Even Bueno, quite composed down the left, and it was a bit of hot potato at times because we were doing the classic passing it round the back, giving all the Wolves fans a heart attack, especially when it goes back to Sarr, which we'll get onto in a minute. And yeah, so defensively we tried our best, but when a team like City just come at you, you're just going to concede a few goals eventually, aren't you?
Harry's mentioned in there, Jack, Jose Sarr, a couple of times this season, probably more often than not. I think we've pinpointed him and said, I'm not sure about his kicking. I'm not sure about his positioning there. I'm not sure about his passing. I'm not sure about his decision making. Is it time for a break? I mean, what did you think of the absolute giveaway? And when I keep watching it back, I'm like, how has he given it to Mahrez? How has it happened?
Well, it's just I don't know what's going on with him lately, really. I mean, that's unexcusable, that mistake. He's not really under any pressure. It's just he can boot it upfield. He can do whatever he wants with it, but he just plays a stupid pass. Completely. I don't even know what he's trying to do. That's the thing. I don't even know what he's trying to do. So it's hard to even justify it. And the thing is, he did a similar thing a few games ago, doesn't he? Was it against Liverpool and got away with it? Or it was another one, wasn't it? He nearly did a similar thing where he was being too complacent, playing out from the back, and we nearly got punished for it. Then you look at his positioning for the Liverpool's actual goal, which was only, we're only talking going back a week and a bit here. And these mistakes just seem to be creeping into his game when they weren't really here last season. He was arguably last season, our player of the season, wasn't he, in some respects? We were really worried when Patricio left. He came in and he really just made it his own and made some brilliant saves and really just took to it like a duck to water, you'd say. But this season, there's just lots of question marks flying about. I don't know if it's complacency. He's definitely out of form, but even when you're out of form, if you're a professional footballer, you shouldn't be just passing it 10 yards in front of you to their player when you're a goalkeeper, because you know what's going to happen. But they only need half a sniff to take you apart. But if you give them the ball there, it was like watching a FIFA game against a player who doesn't play very much, and they try and just exit out from the back with their goalkeeper. That's basically what it was. Intercepted, and then it's passed, and it was a goal. But horrendous, really. I mean, I know we probably weren't going to get it from the game at that point anyway, but when that third goal went in, that's definitely game over, isn't it? Because we're never going to come back against 3. 2, at least you've got half a chance if you get a break and you can get a penalty or something. But that put the definite nail in the coffin. And these mistakes are just creeping into his game, and there's question marks just a little bit too often now. And it's an interesting one to see how Lopetegui handles it, because he's the number one. He's been the number one since he came in. He was brought in as being the number one. We've just about half an hour ago signed a keeper, and Sarkic has gone out on loan to Stoke. So we just see what happens, really. But at the moment, if there was a really competitive player beneath him, then I think he'd have to be looking over his shoulder and at risk of getting dropped, really, because it's just happening too frequently.
And Harry, it's a good goalkeeper and a steady safe pair of hands behind you as a defence sort of fuels confidence as well. And if Wolves are going to try and play around the back 4, you want your goalkeeper as an option. If you're sort of forced into a corner, he's going to deal with it. He's just not giving the confidence to that back line at all, is he? Which is probably why it isn't working playing out the back as much.
Yeah, and it's a shame, really, because last season he was amazing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't make this, and it's just a mistake every few games now with him. And maybe you can say, is it really his game to be receiving the ball? Like we say, he's very, very... it's as if there's no danger around him when he receives it, and then like Haaland stood there. You know what I mean? It's like he's so relaxed. It's like, mate, just boot it if you have to. It's just like when he panics against Liverpool, like you mentioned, when he's just out for a corner. I think he needs to do that instead of pass it straight to Mahrez. But with the transfer activity we've just got, I think Lopetegui's probably thinking, okay, enough's enough. He probably don't trust Sarkic. That's why he's gone out on loan, because he didn't play him against Liverpool in the Cup, did he? At Molineux, and now he's brought in a new keeper to be competition for Sarr, and I think it's needed because he's getting complacent and he needs to up his performances now if he wants to stick around and be number one for us. Let's
have a quick look at Dan Bentley. Undisclosed fee, 2.5-year deal, 29 years old, has made 124 appearances for Bristol City since he joined from Brentford. That was in 2019. 123 appearances for Brentford. Before that, 28 clean sheets in his first 2 seasons at the club. Bristol City captain as well, Harry. Looks like a decent enough signing. 29 years old. It's not really that old for a goalkeeper. Probably coming into his prime, you would imagine.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Don't know much about him. Hadn't really heard of him, so I can't comment much. But you've got to assume he's good with his feet, haven't you? With the tactics we're playing, he's got to. And like I say, Lopetegui didn't like the look of Sarkic by the look of it. So good bit of business. And I think, did you say there's an extension? He's 2.5 years, and they could be another 2. Is that right? Did I hear right?
Yeah, there's an option to extend for a further 2 years, and that is in Wolves' favour.
Yeah, like you say, 29, good age. So we'll see.
It's an interesting one because it's not really a Wolves under Fosun era signing, is it?
No.
You know, I think signing a player who's played for got a lot of appearances in the Football League, really, and you assume you're going to bring him in as a number 2. It's not really a very, thing you usually expect, but he's got experience playing in England. Goalkeeper is a position where you need experience, particularly if he's going to be a backup. And so, fair play. If Shiv says it's apparently only 50,000 for the fee there, but I don't know if that's true or not. But if so, it's just no risk at all, is it really? So you can't really moan.
Unless it's like Mike Bassett and we've signed the striker rather than the goalkeeper in the videos.
Retired.
He thinks he's
the old winger from Spurs.
The one where they're watching all the videotapes of all these wonder goals going in, like shots going in from the halfway line, and he thinks, "Oh my god, I've got a brilliant striker here," and he's bought the keeper instead.
Amazing. We need a striker.
Fourth signing this transfer window, Harry. We sort of thought, could it be 6? Could well be. Looks like
it's 5th, isn't it? This one, I think. I think the keeper's number 5. I think we're 1 off 6 now.
Dawson, Cunha.
Oh, Cunha, yeah.
Bentley.
Sarabia, Dawson,
Sarabia.
Lemina.
That's it, 4, isn't it?
Lemina,
5. Yeah, you're right.
So and if this Gomes, I think it should have been 6 if the old Gomes thing would have worked itself out.
Have you seen the new update on that today, Gomes?
Apparently, It's apparently that Wolves are now willing to match the fee that Leon paid. Apparently, so
they weren't budging though, was they? They
get over the
we
line.
mentioned last week, didn't we? They weren't going to budge on the money because I think they thought that if we went up, then Leon would go up, and it'd be like a bit of a cat and mouse game. But they've gone up, so and he definitely wants to come to us, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He is adamant.
I don't like it though. I think sometimes you do just have to walk away because that's a bit nonsense. If it's gone past the point of, it sounded like it's basically a done deal, and at the last moment they've come in and upset the player and everything, and the whole apple cart. It's not really good for doing future business with them, is it? Really, if they can just say, "Oh yeah, that's agreed. Actually, no, it's not. We want this now." So, do we know what the difference in price was? Does anybody know? Like, were we talking at $1 million or 5 million?
It was about two. It was about 2 million, apparently, according to reports. Obviously, I don't know where the sources get their information from.
It's a strange one, but from what you read about him and what the potential midfield would be for Wolves if it was Neves, Nunes, and Gomes, all the Ezes, then you can only be hopeful, can't you, Jack? I suppose like it looks like good business.
Yeah, they're being smart about it. If you read, obviously, a lot of these players and the majority of Wolves fans, I'll be honest, don't know much about them before they come. Maybe with the exception of like the likes of Lamina, who've played in the Premier League before. So they're new to a lot of us really, and on most occasions new to the English game. But I like the fact that they're just backing Lopetegui because he's obviously going to have some say in these transfers, and he seems to be bolstering out what was at times a stupidly thin squad to be competing in the Premier League. And as you said, just by looking at the bench already, it looks like we actually have got depth there and competition for places. So it's going to take a bit of time. It's not just going to be an immediate fix. These players are going to need a bit of time to bed in. I think we will see a bit of the I don't want to say deadwood, it's a bit disrespectful, but the players you kind of mentioned there who've been around.
Fringe players.
No, not fringe players. A few of them started on Saturday, but players who have been through the cycle since, there were Nuno signings. They've done their 3-4 years now, and they'll probably start to get moved on. And I think the likes of Jimenez, Traore, Moutinho, to be honest, though these are going to be the next wave or the next cycle, and I wouldn't call them all deadwood, but this is good part of the phase, really, just to bring in the new players, the new cycle under Lopetegui, really.
Yeah, Shiv says on Gomez, regardless, build him a statue as soon as he signs. There's a lot of love, isn't there? Yeah, social media absolutely loves him. If Twitter is anything to go by. Another one that's been... Oh, go on.
You know what that means? He's going to be awful.
You just know it.
ACL after 10 minutes.
Yeah. Freddie Eastwood, Mark II.
Yeah.
For the older fans there. Another one, Harry, today is Isco, the former Real Madrid and Sevilla man. I mean, when I saw the link, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe we're being linked with him. And then when I'm reading into it, I'm like, why have Sevilla let him go? The article was written like, oh, well, he hasn't scored in 10 games. And it's like, he will also fit in here. So
Are we just like overhyping him because we're thinking of him at like Real Madrid? Is he still that good? I don't know. But obviously, I mean, you'd take him, wouldn't you? But
yeah.
I would. But I don't know how true it is, to be honest. What was the article? BBC Sport, was it?
It was Birmingham Mail, I think. Birmingham Live.
No, I don't know. They could. The other one I'm thinking is obviously Fabio Silva goes to PSV, and we got linked with that Coventry striker. Gyökeres, is it? Gyökeres? He scored like 30 goals and 70 for them. But I don't think we're going to... I think Cunha was the striker, wasn't he, this window? And I think a lot of fans are not happy with that. And we mentioned it last week. Is it going to be enough just having Cunha? Because he's not really a goal scorer, is he? And that's what we need.
Well, he's not going to score if he's sat on the bench either, is he? He's got no bloody chance. No. So, this is what I'm just saying then about the new cycle. If you're going to bring in these players on big fees, you've got to give them a chance, haven't you? You can't just say, oh, he hasn't scored in 20 games, but they've all been 10-minute sub appearances. It's not fair, is it? So, I don't know. But you just got to give it a bit of time, really. But I don't think we can moan just yet about people. I've seen people moan already about it. I've never seen us this active in a January ever. It's ridiculous. It's like 5 players. It'll probably be 6, maybe even 7 by the time the window's done. And that's just unknown for us, really. And to get the business done, some of it done very early, and other bits pretty much done by the middle of the month, really. The majority of it, not necessarily the players here, but just about to sign or have just signed. So it shows they actually do mean business, and it gives you a little bit of faith more in Fosun, because we were starting to lose it a little bit, weren't we, with the way that we were saying that Large wasn't really backed and these sorts of things. But they do want to keep us up, you can tell, and they're doing their business. They're trying to get players in early. So we've just got to have a bit of patience now and get behind them. And losing at Man City is just one of those things. The real key game was beating West Ham, and that's what we did. So it was kind of a free hit then after that. And really, we've got this Liverpool rematch coming up. And then after that, it's games that you think we should be able to get points from. So it's all to play for.
Rich says, can I ask the panel, so you think Sarr's drop in form could be down to a coaching issue, as Tony Roberts is the only one left from the Large era? Harry, they were quite keen on keeping him, though, and obviously he's still working with Wales, who are terrible at football as well. So, it could be.
Well, I think the reason he stuck around mainly is because he's a character, isn't he? I think the players love him. He did tweet out #free Joao Gomes as well, so that earned him a few brownie points. But it's a good shout. New tactics coming in, passing it around the back. Should Tony Roberts be getting them, passing it around in training? I'm sure they are trying to. But it's a point well made. He's the only one lingering around from the Large era.
You got to laugh, though, because what will Wales' World Cup campaign be remembered for? There's probably Brian Hennessy getting sent off in there, and he's coaching him. So
first World Cup since 1954, and they go out of the group stage.
I don't think it's just down to Tony Roberts. I mean, I think they were probably. No, I don't know. Maybe, but
is Dawson like a passer around the back defender as well? Like, is he the type? He seems a bit more old school to me, isn't he? Like, just nonsense.
Yeah, pull your shorts up and tie them tightly and
smash it into the top of the speed ball for a throw.
Dawson's just been brought in because we need experience. Because between Kilman and Collins, the amount of even just senior football, appearances they've got, particularly in the Premier League, throw Totti in there as well, and it's just not enough, is it? And that's why we needed an elder statesman. Also, the elephant in the room with Craig Dawson is the 9 years that he spent at West Brom that no one seems to be talking about at all. That's weird. Isn't that so strange? Like nobody said anything about it. I mean, that's how screwed we are. Clearly at the back, is that no one's even gone. He's an Albion rejects or anything like that. They're just like completely brushed over it. Completely.
Didn't he dampen them? Didn't he say something along the lines of "It's nice to play for a big club in the Midlands"? Though. So I think the fans love that. Okay. I don't know if that was made up. I saw that pop up somewhere. I thought, if that's true, that's brilliant. Like, he was quoted as saying, "It's great to finally sign for a big club in the Midlands." If that's true, I love it. Well, I could have got clickbaited on that one, though.
Even if it's not, we'll say it is. So maybe a couple more. Let's talk about Fabio Silva, though, Harry. He's gone to join up with Ruud van Nistelrooy at PSV. I think I'd probably take Van Nistelrooy at this rate. I mean, Van Nistelrooy and Costa up front together. Strange one, because it seemed that PSV were negotiating with Anderlecht about the transfer, and we're sort of taking a little bit of a backseat on that one. Probably another Scott Sellers special. Is Holland a good place for him to go? Do you think? Do you think it's clearly a better standard than what Liga is?
Yeah, and he seemed keen to go. Didn't he turn down? I think he turned down Sevilla as well, didn't he, to go there? They were trying to get him off Anderlecht on loan. But it's interesting as well, because going the other way, completely released, was Hoover, wasn't it? They've got rid of Hoover, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I assume he'll go back out on loan somewhere else. He ain't going to be in our plans, is he?
Did you not see about the Hoover thing, though, is the fact that they're still paying his wages, even though he's come back on loan? So how bad must a player be, or how damaging to the dressing room, that you'd rather just not have him there and still pay his wages, but still send him back? Like,
bad, isn't it?
I didn't realise.
What's happened with him? I don't know. I mean, I'm always wary about signing a young prospect from a big club, because I always think that if they were that good, the big club would keep him. And usually, looking over the years with the players we've had, whether it be on loan or signed, like the Borthwick Jacksons, Yana Hoover, this is a great player. Oh, he's such a young prospect for Liverpool and Man United. And they just turn out to, a few years later, they're playing for Burton. And so I'm always a bit wary about it. And this is a prime example of it, because we actually spent fairly good money on him as well. And it just seems like something's not right in terms of his attitude. A few people have said it, haven't they? I know Large threw him under the bus a little bit, probably destroyed that relationship there. But he's gone then, back to his homeland and played in Holland. And they're saying the same things. And there's no smoke without fire, is there? There's obviously got to be something going on. What he needs is he just needs a club where he can go and he can play, get his head down. If he wants to be a footballer, maybe he's done with it mentally, and he's just not the type, and that's it. But even if he goes to League One or to Scotland or wherever, just needs to go somewhere and play, doesn't he? I think.
It is a strange one. It's a great point though, because I think was it 13.5 million we paid for him, Harry? Something around that sort
region,
of figure.
yeah.
Not a small amount of money. And of course, didn't he make his Liverpool debut against us? Didn't he?
Centre half, yeah,
in the FA Cup. So it came on as was he 16 or 17-year-old? Yeah, but I think. Do you think Jack's got a point? Is it bad attitude? Because there must be a reason that Fabio Silva is moving clubs again when you would have said his form was good, but his attitude is not matching his work on the pitch.
Yeah, it's got to be his attitude, because I remember one of the games that stick out for me was when he played right back at United for us, and he had a good game. So he had like one or two where he looked, he might be good here. But yeah, it's got to be an attitude. For the way Bruno Lage just went in on him when he did, just spoke volumes, didn't it? So he's got to try and turn it around. He don't want to be a Dele Alli, although he's not as promising as Dele Alli in terms of ability.
But yeah, what do you do though? Because I mean, there's one thing spending 13 million on a teenager and it not working out, and there's another one spending 38. And I suppose we're a couple of managers down the line now, aren't we, Jack? So you can probably get away with it, but
I don't know what you do with him, really. I think you just get him out of the club, because he's clearly not.
He's got to go.
Being a very good influence, and you just got to say, okay, we've lost £10 million here or whatever it is. I don't know how long he's on his contract. Given how young he was, probably quite a bit. There's probably still a year or two left, really. So, just get him out the door. It's best for all parties involved, and just take the L.
Hobbs was quoted as saying we're going to get him straight back out. He's already said it, so they're not even considering having him as backup or anything. So
is that because they don't want him in the squad? They don't want him around with anybody sort of having a bad influence on the younger players of the group, because there are players in there who are young who have come through and are doing well. Look at Bueno. He's a no-brainer starter at left back.
Quality. Yeah, it looks that way. And when I watch the YouTube videos, the behind-the-scenes one, the atmosphere always seems really good in and around the place since Lopetegui's come in, especially. So they must look into their personalities and things like that. Like this Joao Gomes, I bet he's a nice lad. Cunha, look at him. I mean, you take him home to meet your mum, wouldn't you?
Do you also think with some of these players from big clubs is that they got it in their head that they're going to be playing for Liverpool or Man United, they're going to be stars, and then anything after that, going to Wolves, or they going down the leagues and having to earn your place, and then some of them, they've just got this idea in their head that they were going to just be earning 200 grand a week for the next 10 years and be winning the Champions League. And then suddenly when they've got to go and play in Holland or go down to the Championship or whatever it might be, then they just don't take to it, really, because they don't want to work for it, because they thought it was all made for them, sort of thing. I bet that comes into it, attitude, and just the way that they've been from a young age been looked after and treated like they're going to be the best thing. And if they then get released by the big club, it's hard to then go and say, right, you've got to start again at MK Dons or whatever it is.
Yeah, but these clubs aren't small, are they?
No, I agree.
Aside from Ajax, PSV are the biggest club in Holland by a long way. So why it hasn't worked, we'll never know. Maybe one day we will find out. Let's do a little bit on financial fair play, and it looks like UEFA are going to change their rules because big clubs have good accountants by the looks of things. It's after Chelsea made a number of signings recently, and they've been spreading the cost of those signings over long deals. So was it Mudryk, £89 million? So they've said that's 11 million a year over his 8.5-year deal. There lots of other signings in there that were sort of the same. Sterling's deal was 5 years. I think they paid. What did they pay? Did they pay 50 odd million for Sterling?
Yeah, it was around that. I think. Big one.
Cucurella from Brighton, that was a 6-year deal. Fofana from Leicester, that was a 7-year deal. So I suppose from the outside looking in, without any context of FFP, you're thinking, oh my God, why are they giving such long contracts to players? But it's obviously so they can get around these UEFA rules, and it seems to have been doing no harm, to be honest, because it's since last summer, almost £450 million Chelsea have spent on transfers, which is an incredible amount of money to be below Brentford in the table.
To be fair, it's quite. I mean, that FFP, that was it, the European one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that really handcuffed us, wasn't it, for so many years? And it feels, I can see what they're doing it because they don't want people spending mad money, but they always find the loopholes, the big clubs, don't they? And it's clever, really. And now they've looked at it, the FFP lads. I mean, like, yup, you ain't doing this anymore. Bring you back down. But it's clever, but at the same time, is it risky giving someone a 7-year contract? What if they absolutely snap their leg in half and they've got to pay them, even though they're injured?
There is that, but also these are players that are going to be on a lot of money. So I don't know if I'm just looking at it from a very, very layman's sort of term of if you're paying someone hundreds of thousands of pounds a week to save yourself a couple of million a year, do those numbers particularly add up, Jack? Do you think?
I don't think.
Are the numbers there?
Unless you sign Messi, I don't think the plan will be for any of these players to stay around that long. They'll cash in at some point after 3 or 4 years, where they'll either get them on a new contract if they're really good, or they'll send them to Everton. That's usually the way it goes, and it's something like that. So, but I mean, it's good that they're trying to crack down on this stuff. But like I say, we've been kind of guilty of this in the past, and we have tried to do similar things. But obviously, we did get in a bit of trouble for it. And like you say, that these big clubs with the amount of money involved, they're always going to find a way around it or a loophole, whether it's this, whether it's selling your ground to yourself for billions of pounds and then calling it revenue. There's always something that they do just to find a way around it. So, you're not going to be able to stop it, are you?
And UEFA are going to cap it now at 5 years. So, I mean, it's still quite a long time. I suppose we used to seeing some of those bigger deals go into the 6s and 7s, but I can't really remember too many of them. I always think a 5-year deal is quite a long time, although it's what we gave Adama, and that's obviously up in the summer. Do you think it'll work, Harry?
Yeah, it should do. Just on the length of contracts and that, I still think the most bizarre one ever was it Alan Pardew at Newcastle. Was it like an 11-year contract? I think it was the most bizarre one.
It might have been 8. I think it was 8.
Oh, was it 8?
I think it was 8. Or maybe that was 6.
That was a good idea.
Mike Ashley.
How much was the payout he got for that?
Oh my God. Did he even last 12 months?
I think he lasted about 2 years, didn't he?
Did he?
He started off really well. Mike Ashley got excited thinking he was going to be the Messiah, and they sacked him the year after. But allegedly, they had a lot of gambling debts between each other. So take that for what you will. But we've gone on a tangent there, haven't
we? Good allegedly there, Harry. Spot on.
Thank you. Can I just bring up a topic?
Please the lawyers. Yes.
Have you seen what's been going on Twitter the last few days? People going absolutely mental.
Be more specific.
About no, about Marcus Rashford taking Ruben Neves' iconic celebration. The Man United fans are saying he invented it. They're saying he made it popular. But what I will say is Neves didn't invent it. He took it off Pirlo, didn't he? Which I didn't realise till I saw today. But why are they giving Neves a mention? It's all about Rashford. He's just invented this amazing celebration, and it's rattled the Wolves fan base. It's got to be said.
It has. It's the finger to the temple thing, isn't it? And someone was tweeting a picture basically every year since 2017 when he joined of him scoring and doing that celebration. And I don't know. Is it a slow news day on Twitter?
It's gone mad, isn't it?
It's just Man United fans on Twitter, man. Just you're never going to win. There's too many of them. They're all thick. Just we got to move on.
And then Saka did it, didn't he? When he scored against United, Saka did it as well.
Oh, did he?
When he scored his goal, yeah. Everyone's doing it now. It's just everyone's got that celebration. But Pirlo, I think he was the first one to do it back in the day.
Well, they'll both be doing it Man United come next season, won't they? When he goes. Harry, I believe you have a quiz for
I do
me and
Jack. It's kind of a quiz. We'll get onto it in a minute, but you're going to team up, you two, because it's quite a hard one. But before I get to that, I listened to shout out to the Express and Star podcast. I listened to it today or yesterday, and they're doing a feature on there where they're naming their favourite press boxes at grounds. So it got me thinking, this is a really good question for Jack, because out of us three, I'd assume he's been to way more grounds than me and you, Sam. I was guessing. Jack, if you had to pick one away section and ground, what is your favourite? Not the games you've been to, like nothing to do with Wolves scoring a last-minute win or anything like that. What is your favourite away end in terms of view, like how nice it is and things like that? We'll all go through it. I've got a couple.
MK Dons always springs to mind, but I know we weren't really in the away section then, but I was just really impressed with the ground when I got there, which is a shame, really. It doesn't really get many people. Brentford this season, I like that. That was pretty good. But again, it's probably just that new ground factor, isn't it? Which one do I like, which is a good I don't know. What were you thinking?
So my first two that come to my head, my first one was just I know it's boring, but Man United, Old Trafford. I think it's just because of how iconic the ground is, and every time I've been, I've had a pretty good day, to be fair. And I think it's a good view in the corner. But my actual favourite is I've only been twice because I haven't been to like Spurs. I haven't been to the new Spurs ground. I thought you might say that.
That is good, actually. Yeah, it is. It is
that
quick.
one? Yeah.
I always judge it by how quick it is to get a beer in Spurs because it's so American football based and just really big. That is quite good. Yeah, to be fair.
But my favourite is the first time I went was with 7 a box. It's the Emirates.
Arsenal, yeah.
And I went the first time I went in the away end was the game. Was it last season? Huang put us 1-up and we lost 2-1. And I thought the atmosphere was absolutely incredible that game. Don't you think it was like an amazing atmosphere there?
I know it's horrible at the end, but
it's known as a bit of a. Obviously, it's known a bit of a touristy ground, a bit quiet, but I think just the ground's like superb, isn't it? Like, I think the away.
Yeah, it's visually, particularly like that night under the lights, it did look good, didn't it? And it's weird that it is kind of in the middle of London. And just got it's bloody massive.
You won't go Spurs then? I'm surprised you didn't.
No, I did like Spurs, but I'm trying to think. You need to give me some lead time with this.
A bit of a left field one would probably be Preston. I quite like Preston.
See, I can't remember Preston.
I went to that.
Been there a few times.
Would you like Chelsea? I've never been to Chelsea, Sam. You went to Chelsea?
Yeah,
Chelsea's shit.
Is it crap? Is it?
Yeah, to be honest.
The worst one I've been to is Everton. I think away end.
Oh, Craven Cottage is.
I've never been there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Palace. No, nothing's worse than Palace.
Palace is horrendous.
You got a pillar in front of your face.
It's old school, but it's just the if it rains, the first half of the seats is a swimming pool. It's like the North Bank, to be fair. And you stood behind a pole. Yeah.
MK Dons was a shout. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of MK Dons, but like you said, we had half the stadium, didn't we, that day?
Yeah, it's just one of those special days, wasn't it?
But yeah, we'll get onto the quiz. I just thought I'd throw that in there because I thought that was quite an interesting one.
I mean, I did really used to like the old Brentford ground because it was standing behind the goal.
We had that one game
in League. That one game in League One, that was tasty. That wasn't fair.
When we went 3-0 up that game, bit of a throwback. I lost my shoe and I spent half the rest of the game trying to find it, and I found it right down the front, crammed up against the advertising hoarding. So we were on WhatsApp, weren't we? This is a bit of a quiz, but what I'll do, I'm going to go between two of you. You're going to give an answer until we get it. There's 9 answers, and I've gone for since Fosun took over. How many forwards, not strikers, just forwards? So, they could be a bit of a tricky winger who you expect to get goals, have made at least one appearance but not scored a goal for Wolves. 4 of them are in the current team, so we'll go back and forth. And it is hard. So if the comment section want to try and guess as well, we'll take there.
There's a bit of a delay. So say it again, just so I understand the rules properly.
So since Fosun have took over, because we're lacking goals, aren't we? Our strikers are not really firing. I thought I'd go back and look what players since Fosun have been owners have played at least one appearance for Wolves, a forward. There's not scored a goal. Has not scored a goal for Wolves. So
okay, right.
There's a few easy ones from this season.
Does it have to be league appearance?
And cup as well.
Okay.
Oh, so Cunha?
Yeah, so there's 1. Sam's at first. Cunha's 1. 8 to go. Go on, Jack.
I'm going to be tactical. Well, Jose Sarr.
No. Strikers. Forwards.
Oh, strikers. Oh, strikers.
Yeah.
Fosun era strikers.
And forwards / winger. Like a attacking.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that in there because there is one. And you're like, that's not a striker, but it is to me.
Benicophobe. Oh, he didn't play.
He scored.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hang on. Leeds. Diego Costa.
Yeah, so there's 2. There's 2 more from this year.
2 more from this year who've played up front and haven't scored a goal.
At least 1 appearance. Come on. Literally.
What's his name the other day? Salim.
Yeah. Sarabia.
Yeah, that's it.
So there we go. There's 3. Yeah. There's 1 more. There's 1 more from this current squad. Sam?
And we're saying a winger.
Yeah, he is. I'll give it you, but he is injured at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Neto scored.
Neto's at Wolves.
It's not. That's right. It's not just this season. It's the whole
Fosun era, Sam.
The whole. Okay.
Yeah. They've played. There we go. Kalajic, Shiv. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Chem Campbell. Shiv's flying. Chem Campbell. Kalajic. There we go. We've said Diego Costa, Shiv. Chiquinho. Should we just give this quiz to Shiv? There we go.
Yeah, we should do. Yeah. Maybe we should turn the comments off.
some of them are a bit rogue, I'll be honest. So you've got, the one, you actually said it to me on WhatsApp, Sam. Think back in the day, yeah.
Dicko.
Did Dicko score for Wolves?
No, yeah, sorry.
This is as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I didn't know if it was he facing it.
I'm
annoyed because if
this is embarrassing.
Jeremy Halan.
No.
I'm
going to give you one because on Wikipedia, if you look,
Paul Gladden.
Yes, Paul Gladden's one. 2 appearances, no goals.
Did he play twice? Did he? Christ.
I'm going to give you one. So one of them, I looked it up and it said he hadn't played a senior appearance for Wolves, and I was like, he definitely has because I remember him playing in the FA Cup. And it's Ashley Seal, made 1 appearance, didn't score.
Oh,
Benny Ashley Seal.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, that is rogue.
You've got 3 more to get. I think you'll get 1, but the other 2 I might have to tell you.
Do you want to give us initials? Give us their initials.
So Shiv has said Texera, but I classed him
midfielder. Anyway.
To be fair, I could have had 6 gear in it, but I classed him as a midfielder, not like a forward/striker. So controversial one. Initials are M.
RM.
RM. RM.
Oh, RM.
Oh my God! Come on, lads. I'm gonna start giving clues. Big. Did amazing in La Liga. Made 2 appearances for Wolves. Didn't score.
Guedes.
No, he scored for Wolves against Liverpool.
Oh shit, he did,
yeah. Amazing in La Liga. We thought he was going to come back. He come on in the FA Cup against Fulham on his debut.
La Liga.
People are screaming at this.
Are they?
Come on.
JM.
RM.
RM.
Rafa Mer.
Rafa Mer.
There you go. Thank you, Michael, in the comments.
You
You managed to give it Rafa Mer.
Oh my God.
Right, this is
so
painful,
bad.
so I'm going to give you the last 2. You're never going to get that.
No, give us clues. Give us clues. We'll get them eventually.
The last 2, you ain't got a chance.
One.
Okay, I'll give you a clue on the one. It's TC, and he's currently, I think he's gone to Canada.
Top Cat.
Terry Connor.
He come on at Spurs.
Theo Corbinu.
There we go.
Well done.
Theo Corbinu. Yeah, he made 1 appearance, no goals, and it was at Spurs. He come on. There's 1 more left, which you won't get.
Yeah, well, if you give us the initials.
DW.
Dean Windass.
Might as well be. Rodney Marsh, someone said in the comments for the RM.
That's about as good as us, isn't it?
Riyad Mahrez.
DW. Dwight. Darren. Were.
I'll give you it. It's a hard one. I'm looking at it and even I'm not being thinking. You know what I mean? It's a hard one.
Go on then.
Donovan Wilson.
Oh, Wilson.
So there's 9. I'll go through them again because obviously we're shut. So Paul Gladden, 2 appearances, no goals. Donovan Wilson, 1 appearance, no goals. Rafa Mir, 2 appearances, no goals. That one shocked me the most.
Yeah.
Rafa Mir didn't score for us. Theo Corbianu, 1 appearance, no goals. Chem Campbell, 3 appearances, no goals. Chiquinho, 8 appearances, no goals. Cunha, 3 appearances, no goals. Sasha, 20 minutes, no goals. Sarabia, come on against City, no goals. Diego Costa, 10 appearances, no goals. Ashley Seal, 1 appearance, no goals. I thought Willian Jose was going to be in there, but he got 1 goal.
He was unlucky. He had 1 disallowed, which shouldn't have been disallowed either, I think. Was it against Chelsea or Fulham or something? I can't remember.
Danny Welbeck.
Very good. Very well researched, that is, Harry.
That was really bad, wasn't it? That was really
bad.
I bet you don't trust Wikipedia because they said Benny Ashley Seal has never made a senior appearance, but he definitely did because I remember it.
Oh, you don't trust Wikipedia. Football ground. Perfect. Well, no, thank you for that. Well, lovely. We've got a weekend off, haven't we? So we'll reconvene next Wednesday, of which point the transfer window would have slammed shut, and we will be lauding all of the new signings across the next 7 days. But we'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Goodbye.
Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody.
And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.